Bonjour everyone and welcome back to my channel, The Waves of Your Soul. Today's video is going to be a good old-fashioned haul where I'm going to be sharing with you all the new decks, tarot, oracle, as well as a couple of books that came into my life in the recent couple of months, 3 months. I like to do those videos of roundups, sharing with you the new decks I've got. Some of them are going to be new impressions because I've only had them for like a couple of days. Some of them I've been using actually for the last 2 months consistently. So I'll be able to give you more proper reviews about them after having used them. And if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Marine. I'm a French tarot reader. On my channel, I love posting videos such as this one talking about tarot and oracle decks. They're a huge passion of mine. And I also really love posting pick a card readings, empowering tarot readings. That's kind of what I like to do. So if you'd like to see any more of that, please feel free to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, you can leave it a thumbs up. It does really help my channel to grow. Let me know in the comments what decks you've been enjoying lately. What are you thinking of getting? What are you thinking of getting rid of? Whether it's decluttering, hauling, collecting, keeping, reading, I'm here for all of it. You will find all the names of the decks and books and things I'm showing with you today in the description box below. Just in case my froggy French accent gets in the way, you're gonna find that info down there. As well as all of my other social media links, which at the moment I'm mostly using Insta stories. So if you want to see more of what I'm using and all of that good stuff, it's gonna be there. Let's quickly start with books because I bought quite a lot of books and not all of them have arrived. If you haven't heard, Book Depository has closed down, which I'm still grieving about because Book Depository was my go-to place to get any English mass market decks or any English books or anything like that. We don't have Amazon where I live. I live on a tropical island in the middle of the Indian Ocean and there's no Amazon. The bookshops are limited and they only sell some French titles. So to get any English titles, especially like mass market things or even books, it's extremely complicated where I live. So the fact that Book Depository has closed down, it breaks my heart, but I want to thank all of you who have sent other options on Instagram. You've DM'd me other options and stuff, so I'm gonna research. So for those of you who are in the same situation as me, as soon as I have found a good alternative, I will share it with you because I know there's a lot of us who are international who were relying on Book Depository because it was free shipping and it was just brilliant. So I made a lot of orders before Book Depository closed down, mainly of English books that I will not be able to get for the foreseeable future otherwise. So some of them have arrived, the majority of them have not, so I guess stay tuned for a future haul in the next 3 to 6 months. I mean, we know that orders can take a really long time for me, but the two that did get there are the Wild Soul Runes by Lara Veleda Vesta, and so this is a rune book all about runes, but I've been wanting this for so long because the writer about this one also navigates the water of chronic illness, chronic pain, such as myself, and so I know that this particular book is informed with that prism in mind, and I follow this creator on Instagram, and so I was very excited when they announced that they were creating a book. And I'm not a huge knower of runes, but I'm interested. It's something that I want to learn more of. I appreciate the idea of being able to explore the runes, and I'm also particular about which rune books I get because a lot of it is, let's just say, some of it comes from a very politically dangerous mind, and so to find a rune book that is more so around ecology and nature and working with your body and like you can see reawakening the ancestral feminine, like not from a patriarchal white kind of point of view, we love that. So I'm very excited about this one, and of course once I've read it you'll probably see them pop up in my monthly favorites and stuff like that. But if you have read it, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. The next one I picked up, and I'm so excited about this one, is The Flowering Wand by Sophie Strand. So if you don't know Sophie Strand, she goes under Cosmo Genie on Instagram. I love what she does. Every single one of her writings that she posts on Instagram and stuff, it just moves my soul. Again, this is someone who also is familiar with chronic pain and chronic illness, so that's, I guess, something that maybe bones, me as a reader, but it's not like the key of her writings. A lot of it is about mythologies, myths, and how those myths can carry knowledges along the ways that we could be delving deeper into nowadays. And so this one is literally about rewildering the sacred masculine through exploring myths. So we're talking about for example, Dionysus and Osiris, we're talking about Jesus and Tristan and Merlin, and all of those myths here reseeds our mind with new visions of male identity, shows how each of us, regardless of gender, can develop a matured ecological empathy and witness a blossoming of sacred masculine powers that are soft, curious, connective, and celebratory. A lot of the writings recently and everything have been around the divine feminine, and for good reason. We live in a patriarchal society, so it is important that we celebrate the divine feminine, but I've been on the lookout for healthier research around the divine masculine that is not, about the patriarchal, very stern point of view, capitalistic and all of that. And Sophie does just that. It's offering a new version of the divine masculine, one that personally I would love to connect with. I believe we have masculine and feminine energies within us, and so I'm just so excited. And Sophie's writing, it's super poetic, super powerful, it's magical. So I highly recommend you to check her out on Instagram. I'll leave her Instagram down below, and I'm so excited to get into this one. So this is a French book on Marseille. It's called Ombre et Lumière du Tarot, Carole Cédillo. This is about Tarot de Marseille. This year I am on my Tarot de Marseille study. I've just decided within me and myself and I that this would be the year for Marseille. So I am enjoying reading this a lot. I've got this for my birthday, like I was saying. I really like this book for my French speakers because for every single card, at least for the majors, you get all the numerology, symbolism, etc. broken down. So you have elements, you have all the symbols, all the colors are explained, astrological associations. Here we're talking about the stars, for example. So this is about the star card. You have a bit about what the star card is, but it also explains the number, the Hebrew letter, you have the elements, and then here, for example, it talks about the blue hair, the little black bird, the stars, the two red vases, like every single thing, the ground, everything, every detail is analyzed and gives you another lens through which you can look the cards. You have the astrological association, you have the mythological association, and then you have keywords. And then, of course, you have also the explanation for the minors as well, which thank you, because there are a lot of French books on Tarot de Marseille, okay? Obviously, Tarot de Marseille is, French originally, although it was inspired by Italian tarot decks. So there's a lot of French books on Tarot de Marseille, but there's not that many that actually delve into the minors. A lot of French books, because a lot of French readers only use the 22 major arcana, they don't deal with minors. And if I am getting Tarot Marseille decks, which I have been getting into, I want to use the whole deck. I don't want to be using just the majors. There is something to be said about using majors. Can they be powerful? Yes. Can they do great reading? Yes. But I want to learn, so I'm very appreciative that this is actually diving into the minors too. It's a really great book. I would recommend it. Continue my study. I've got other books that are coming from my future book depository orders about reading with pip decks, not from a French point of view, but from American readers and all of that. I'd be sure to share that out with you once I have gotten them, and once I've read them, I'll share my thoughts as well. So let's talk about decks. And the first things I want to mention are decks that I was sent. The rest will be decks that I either purchased for myself or gotten for my birthday, but I wanted to start with those decks I got from Prisma Visions, who very generously sent me this, and it arrived around my birthday, which was like the most incredible gift. I adore their decks and I'm so grateful. So if you don't know Prisma Visions, it was created by the artist James R. Eads, and he has created many decks. I'll share with you two here, but they've also got a lot of really cool stuff on their shops, and so they've sent me some things to show you. The first one are those beautiful candles, and it has taken everything in my willpower to not light those, but I wanted to share them with you. The reason why I'm sharing those with you today, and the decks as well that they've sent me, is because they've actually given me a 10% off link. So it's not affiliated, I don't get anything out of it, but you can get 10% off, and that's awesome. So if you've been eyeing some of their decks or some of their objects, like those candles for example, then you can find the links in the description box, and it's gonna give you 10% off. 3 candles for $45, and they are major arcana candles. So we've got the stars, the magician, and the moon from the Prisma Visions tarot deck, and they are, you know, those like prayer, I call them prayer candles. So they are glass, and then on top of them you have a sticker with each of the major arcana, and then you have the wick right there. So actually it's taken everything in me to not light them. I'm gonna give one to my mom, and she loves the moon card in tarot. She doesn't read the cards, but she loves the moon card like aesthetically, and so I'm gonna give that to her, and I already know she's gonna be obsessed. So those are some of the new ritual objects you can find on the Prisma Visions shop, and again you're gonna find their shop in the description box below. I can't wait to actually do magical working with those. I think, for example, so the star, if you're going through a specifically difficult time and you want to bring some healing in your life, then you could burn the star candle, and maybe even beneath the candle put some of your favorite star card, build a little altar around it, maybe put some crystals that for you have that healing energy. If you're going through tough times, I think it can really help. The magician candle is perfect if you want to do some manifesting. So I think that the fact that they chose those 3 particular majors is incredibly clever, and they're not scented, by the way, so that's nice for the people who are you know, sensitive to scents. Then they sent me a couple of their decks, so again they're $45 each. The first one is the Prisma Vision tarot. Now I didn't have this particular deck. I've already been working with Inglyph tarot, oracle, runes, and Lenormands, and I've done a presentation of those decks on my channel when the Kickstarter was on, and I've been really enjoying their decks, especially the oracle deck. It's like one of my most used decks of last year, although I don't know if I've put it in my favorites of the year, because technically it was not out yet, and the Kickstarter had finished but the decks had not been out. Those decks though, those decks I'm presenting to you now, they've been out for a few years, so if you want to pick them up, they definitely exist in the world. And this is one of his most famous decks, the Prisma Visions tarot. So it comes in this beautiful box, and you have a guidebook. It's actually really interesting. If you have this deck and you've not read the guidebook, I recommend it. What I appreciated is that the choices for each of the cards on this deck were explained. So in terms of like, why did the artist decide to depict a certain card a certain way, the choices are absolutely explained in the guidebook, and that is truly appreciated, because let me tell you, there are so many guidebooks of decks that, like this one, goes their own way, because this is rooted in RWS, but it definitely does its own thing. The artist has taken some liberties, and they're creating their own world, and I'm all for it. I think that's wonderful. I love it when artists do their own things and they create their own worlds, but I appreciate it when they can explain to me why they've made certain choices. So some cards, the Two of Swords, they're very traditional looking, or at least resembling the RWS in this case, but some are a lot more unique, but everything is explained in the guidebook, and I really appreciate that. And so if you've never worked with James R. Eads decks before, you might not know that the specificity of those decks is that if you put the minors next to each other, you're gonna get a storyline, and that is absolutely beautiful. So let me show you. I've had to go back into my deck and put it back in order, because actually I have been using this tarot deck quite a bit this month. As you can see, one of the specificity from this particular artist is that when you put each of the suit next to each other, so from the ace to the 10, even including the court cards, you get a whole story. So here we have the whole cups, or in this deck it's called chalices suit, and as you can see, all the images line up to create a whole storyline, and it's the same thing that happens for the wands, the pentacles, etc. Each suit tells a whole story, all the cards creating this beautiful landscape. It's the same thing if I put the court cards together. You can see that they also link up and create a beautiful storyline. So when you do get 2 cards from the same suit in your readings, and you start to see those little Easter eggs and synchronicity, it does definitely give another magical aspects to your reading. And so the minors are borderless, and the majors have borders in this particular deck. I've actually been using this deck for the last month or so. For every creative endeavors I have, my creative projects, if I need to ask something around my YouTube channel, for example, or my content creation, I've been pulling out from this deck, and it is beautiful for this particular theme, for me at least, in terms of creative projects, passion projects, any questions around creativity, intuition, spirituality as well. I find this deck is perfectly suited. I think this could be also a great career deck. There's a lot of like action and purpose and movement in this deck, so I think it would be great for when you're in those situations where you need to put yourself out of a slump. You need to find the inspiration, when you need to find that drive, that inspiration, that spark again, because a lot of the background looks like it's on fire, and because of the nature of the drawings and all the thought that's put behind the deck, I find that this is perfect for me for all of my creative endeavors. So I've been really enjoying using this deck. It has not left my desk at the moment. Look at this Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is one of my significator. I really identify with it, and this one is one of my favorite, like being so taken by power, channeling that kind of inspiration is so beautiful. Really appreciate this Judgment card with the idea of like going through a portal. That's really powerful. So this deck has been a wonderful surprise. I had not been working with the Prisma Visions tarot before, and I really want to thank the creators for sending it to me, because I've been truly enjoying it. There are two versions of the Prisma Visions, I believe. There's this colorful version, and there is a more sepia tone version. If you know me, you know I love color, so of course I had to pick the colorful version. But for those of you out there who are more into toned down, autumny colors kind of vibes, then you can find this deck in the sepia colors, and it still looks beautiful, but I'm a color person, so this one resonated more with me. Lastly, the team over at Prisma Visions really kindly sent me the Cosma Visions Oracle. So to go with the tarot deck, they also created the Oracle deck a couple of years ago, I believe. This was 2020 and this is 2021, and so this is actually really peculiar oracle in the sense that it is dedicated to past life readings. Now, I have been trying to work with past life more and more, but it's something that is like both fascinating and very energy taking for me. So I have to like choose my moments to do this. I have to be well, for example, if I'm physically unwell, because I navigate the waters of chronic pain and stuff, I can't be doing past life readings because it's like super exhausting to me. But I always appreciate when a deck can help like make things easier for me. Let me tell you that I'm so happy about the number of cards there is, because there's 79 cards in this deck, and I love a big oracle deck. You know I'm a greedy bitch. I'm not a lover of when oracle decks only have like 30 cards. Give me more, like Brittany said. Again, you have a really interesting guidebook here with a page for each of the cards, and this is essential because it allows you to give you, again, indication as to why the artist chose to depict each card this way, as well as an understanding in terms of like what it means if you pull this card. Now, the reason why this deck is so interesting is not just because it was created for past life reading, but because it has a tarot structure. For those of you who are tarot lovers, maybe you don't work with oracles so much because you prefer structure and you enjoy the tarot structure, then this is for you really, because you have 22 cards that can act as major arcana cards, and again, in this case, just as the last one, they are with borders, although they have been renamed to fit the past life reading theme. So the Fool this time is death, because the first step towards our new life, our reincarnation, if you believe in those things, first we need to die, right? So you have death, and then after that you have all the majors that James has created that would be relevant of the different stages and step that we would take all the way towards our new incarnation. So what we go through in death and all the different processes we go through as our souls before we are able to reincarnate into a new form, if you believe in those things. If you don't, then you can just take this as like a soul journey, not necessarily towards a new life, but potentially like a new project, for example, or a new endeavor, or a new thing you're creating, for example. You can use those major arcana as like steps that you're taking to go through that whole process of letting go of something and then being able to shed everything that you no longer need, all the way to losing yourself, to back to finding yourself again, and to transcending. Those majors are extremely interesting, and this is where the guidebook is important. If I hadn't read the guidebook, I would not necessarily understand, because they're not tarot majors. This is still an oracle deck. But it's really cool to have that particular structure of the tarot in terms of like having a major arcana pack and then having minors. This artwork, look at this, it's so beautiful. And if you don't want to do past life readings, you can still use this deck for like any kind of soul guidance, spiritual reading. I'm just getting into it at the moment because I wanted to get into the tarot first, but I've been using this for a few readings around spiritual advice from my guide, from source, whatever you believe in, and it works. Like even outside of the past life area, if you just want like soul guidance, connecting with source, anything that's like higher than you, I find this extremely connected and intuitive because of the nature of those particular cards. Just like with the other deck, every single card of one suit you can put next to the other and it makes a story. Was that even an English sentence? I don't know. It's Mercury retrograde in Taurus. My moon is in Taurus. So if I'm making even less sense than usual, then blame it on Mercury. It's not my fault. I'm just a mere peasant who is victim to the planetary shenanigans, okay? Anyway, as per the last deck, as you can see, each suit makes a story. You can really see the tarot influence here, because even though it's an oracle, we have the 1 of Ember, 2 of Embers, 3 of Embers, etc. So for the other suit are lotuses, we have birds, and we have the suit of trees. And of course you could link them to your cups, your swords, and your pentacles if you wanted to. But this is not meant to be read as a tarot. This is meant to be more freeing, I think, but it has a little bit of a tarot structure for those of you who like to have that as like something to hold on to. And I understand, because sometimes I love oracle decks that let me free myself. And actually the last deck I got from James R. Eads, their Green Glyph Oracle, it's the complete opposite. It's like completely freeing. There's just symbols and keywords and there's no structure, and it's like in terms of reading the deck, it's very much like let your intuition run loose. But sometimes you can be in need of those decks like this where there is a little structure. You can rely on the guidebook, and especially when you get cards of the same suit together in a reading, that's when the story starts to happen, because they follow each other, right? So I have found this to be, for the few readings I've done, and again, I've not used this as extensively as the tarot yet, so I don't want to say too much about my experience yet. But what I can say is that I have found it to be more useful for me for spiritually led readings, like readings when I want to connect with my guides, when I want to connect with my higher self, those sort of things. Now the last part of the decks is my favorite, and those are the archetypes. I guess they could be the court cards in tarot, except in this one they were renamed, and they're renamed as archetypes. And I have actually taken out this part of the deck and been doing readings with just this for myself as a try, and it's so good that I want to offer a pick a card reading on my channel doing the same thing. So watch out for either an archetypal reading or a reading around who you are right now and who you are becoming. I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm gonna call it yet, but I want to use this part of the deck because, as you can see, every single card, which would be a court card in a tarot deck, is in specific archetypes. So we have the shapeshifter, the dreamer, the peacemaker. For myself, I've been pulling a card like every week or so of this month with this particular pack of the deck, and to see like, who am I channeling to be this week, for example? Who am I asked to be? Should I be like incarnating the wanderer, the romantic, the mender? There's different archetypes, different facets, and I believe all of those facets of people exist within us. It's up to us to tap into them, and this particular part of the deck, it can really help you to figure out like, who are you at this moment in time, or who do you want to become, or who are you leaving behind. So I'm definitely gonna be doing a pick a card reading using those because I think it's fascinating. So I really want to thank again Prisma Visions and the team of James R. Eads for sending those to me, because whether it's the candles or the decks, I've been truly enjoying them, and I wanted to share with you have been using them, and I'm excited to put them into good use and share with you them with you in readings. And again, you will find the links to them in the description box, and you will find the 10% off coupon as well. So if you're interested in any of those, you can get 10% off. Again, it's not affiliated, but you can save some money. So who doesn't love that, especially in this economy? We love it. Okay, now let's move on to decks I got for my birthday. So family and friends got me those, and then we'll finish with decks I bought myself. I got the Le Tarot Villeneuve, which you might have seen if you watch my French deck series, which if you don't, why? Why are you not watching it? You should, because you would have gotten the scoop on me sharing this deck already in one of my episodes. The pouch doesn't come with it, by the way. I just put it there because otherwise it was moving around in the box too much. But this is a French mass market deck. It comes with a huge guidebook, which is really cool because for every single card you get the meaning of the cards, you get a quote, which is really interesting, and then it breaks it down into sentimental reading, professional reading, mindset readings. You get reverse meaning, keywords, and you get famous beings or situations that could represent this particular card. So for example, the Nine of Wands, it's the famous Nine of Wands here. It says the witches of Salem. I like when creators decide to link tarot to things that we might understand from day-to-day life, like whether it's pop culture, historical references and things. Even though I might not agree with what they're saying, I still appreciate people who try to link tarot to daily life, because to be honest, that is what I do all the time. I'm always like, I see tarot everywhere. I see tarot in the books I read, in the TV shows I watch, in the conversations I have with my friends. I see tarot everywhere I look. So I appreciate when creators do go the extra way and give us like glimpses into their way of seeing tarot in their guidebook. So here are the backs, and like I said, it's a mass market tarot deck, so I'll put the link of it down below. You can find it on amazon.fr, and it is truly for me a mix between an RWS and a Marseille, in the sense that the meanings of the cards for me are more influenced by Marseille than RWS, although if you are more learned in RWS, such as me, like I've told you, I'm learning Marseille, but my main go-to deck is the RWS. That's what I've learned on. That's what I'm very familiar with. Then if that's your only way of looking at tarot, you can still definitely use this deck. It's more than enough. It's just that if you are a bit familiar with Marseille, then you'll notice you have the cards in terms of depictions. Obviously, they're illustrated, so they don't look like Marseille, but the meaning behind them maybe are a bit more Marseille influence, I would say. So for me, this deck does its own thing. It goes its own way, but it is wonderful and super interesting. And of course, I love fantasy and I love this art style. Like, it's very comic book, rooted in the fantasy world, the magical world. Like, this Four of Pentacles is everything. We have dragons and magic and priestesses and wizards, and I really enjoy this deck a lot. Obviously, it's in French, as you can see, but because it follows tarot structure, I think it could be easily used by all of those of you who don't speak any French. You could even write here in the titles like the English titles, but here we have the Six of Swords, we have the Hanged Woman, the Nine of Wands, the Moon, the Queen of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Four of Swords, the Empress, who is gorgeous with all her cheetahs, she's beautiful. The Ace of Swords. The aces are particularly beautiful in this deck. And if you hear snoring, my dog Chips, she's like a tiny dog, but she snores like a fat pig. And she's having a good sleep right now next to me. So I'm sorry if you can hear the snoring, but you know, she lives here and I don't have the heart to wake her up because she looks so cozy. Now, this is like the before and after. In the Ten of Swords, we see this woman who's lie down with all those swords like above her. And then in the Death, we see literally Death about to come in and reap and do its thing. So there's a lot of those Easter eggs in the deck. If you use the deck for a while, you start to notice like how everything happens. It's almost like its own unique world, and I really like that. I love this Strength card. It's gorgeous, so beautiful. One of my favorite strengths cards I've seen in recent decks, to be honest. So I've been really enjoying using this deck. It's giving me like Witcher vibes, which if you know, you know. If you've watched The Witchers or read the books, there's a bit of that. There's a bit of that fantasy, magical vibe. This Three of Swords get me in the field every time. I don't know, there's something so sad about that dragon crying, like I can't take it. The next one is actually a little board game. I don't know if it exists in other languages. In French it's called Similo, and you can see, if you type Similo on Amazon and stuff, you'll see there's different kinds. So this one is conte in French. It means fairy tales. I think there's a mythological one. I think there is a historical one. Originally it's a board game. If you watched my channel before, you know I love recycling or reusing board games and turn them into like oracle decks. Like that's my thing. I love to find like decks that are not meant to be decks and turn them into decks. There's so much joy in that. When I was gifted this for my birthday, I was super excited. So originally I think they are meant to like guess a secret character. So someone chooses a character and then the other people have to ask questions or guess the character or something. I don't know, to be honest, I've not read the rules. I just saw that the cards were really cool and I got super excited. So I didn't actually give a shit about the rules. This is all about fairy tales, and so each card represents a fairy tale character, and this as a turn into an oracle deck, it is so spot on. It's brilliant. So here you have Snow White, you have the Evil Queen, the Huntsman from Little Red Riding Hood, the Three Little Pigs. Okay, this is making me like work on my English fairy tales because I don't always remember the names in English of the fairy tales. We have Red Riding Hood, Aladdin, Pinocchio, what's his name? The cat. The Pussycat Boots, Pussycat, no, that's a girl group. What is it? The Cat in Boot, the one, you know, the cat that has boots. Cinderella, I know that one. The Fox and the Cat, we have, I don't know who that is, I need to look it up actually. We have the, oh, that's from the Wizard of Oz, the Little Mermaid, the Giant, Jack and the Bean, the Magical Bean. We have the Evil Witch from the Little Mermaid, or we have the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. We have Alice. This is like the evil stepmom from Cinderella. Peter Pan. I forgot. Tinkerbell. Oh, that came out from the literally bottom of my soul there. I don't know. I forgot I knew that. Captain Hook. This is the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. Anyway, there's still a few. You get the gist. There's like not that many cards, but again, this is not meant to be an oracle. But I've been loving using this for especially like shadow type reads. I use this for my Your Main Character energy reading. So I'll leave that in the link somewhere. If you've not watched it, again, why? I'm joking. You're allowed to not watch my videos, obviously. But if you want to see how I use this, check out this reading because I use it and it's super spot on in terms of like showing potential shadowy aspects of ourselves, because there are more shadowy characters from fairy tales. So I've been turning this into an oracle deck. It's been really fun. Okay, let's move on to a couple of decks that I backed on Kickstarter like years ago. Finally received a couple. The first one, actually, it was a whole long story which I'll spare you, but I backed the deck on Kickstarter and then they couldn't send it to me anymore because of shipping problems, so I had it sent to my friend in Spain, and then she had issues at the Spanish post as well, so it took a while, and then in the end she just brought it back with her at Christmas time. So I've had this technically since Christmas, but I've only been using it recently because it wasn't time for it. You know, sometimes you have decks and you are waiting for their time to shine. This is the case with this deck. The Zix Arcana Tarot, and I backed this on Kickstarter. I think it was 2021. I was waiting for Aries season to use this because it was giving me Aries vibes, and it didn't feel right to use it before the start of the new astrological year. I don't know why. You know, sometimes I'm weird. I can have a deck sit there for a few months and not touch it if it doesn't feel like it's time. And this didn't feel like it's time until it was it's Aries season and the new year. I think you can purchase this now. I'll try and find the Etsy shop or whatever if it is available for purchase. I hope it is because it's awesome. So if it is, I'll put the link down below. In the Kickstarter, I got a pouch. I don't know if it's available now. And I also got a bag, which I can't show you now because it's in the car, but it's really cool. I love it. The guidebook is, it's very simple, I'll say that. There's nothing like bad with it. It's just that for each of the minors at least, you only have a couple of keywords, but I thought they did a good job in terms of giving you ideas on how to get to know the court cards, on numerology and spreads. So there's definitely like interesting things about the guidebook. It's just not as in-depth as I would like, especially if I was a beginner for the minors. Here are the backs, which are absolutely amazing. I love those backs so much. Maybe one of my favorite backings. You have this like hollow kind of silver edges here, so pretty, and then the edges on the sides are pink. Who doesn't like pink edges? If you don't, what's wrong with you? I'm joking, obviously, but I mean, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I look at this already, I'm feeling 10 times better. Sometimes I'm shallow like that. It is so colorful, freaky, strange, sexy, alien-esque, and I don't even know if that was English, but you're gonna see the art style. It's absolutely bonkers and yet so beautiful. And for me, that's why I had to wait for Aries to use it, because there's so much power and fire in this particular deck that it just felt right to wait. And I'm actually really glad I did, because I've been using it now since Aries season has gone, and I'm gonna continue using it for Taurus season actually. And it just feels right, like all the energy, the vibrancies, and it's so colorful. First of all, like there's a lot of pinks and blues, and so that already, it's giving me the life juice I need. On top of that, the artwork is so unique. I think this is one of those artists that once you see their stuff, you know it's them. Like there's no mistaking them, you know. This truly stands out, which nowadays is something to be said. The minors are more pipish, but it's definitely pips with added oomph. It's like Pepsi pips, I think I want to call it. They have peps to them. There's like either animals there, or there's a bit of a background. So even though it's not as fully illustrated potentially as an RWS clone, you still have what you need to make the meanings you need. So here for the 9 of Pentacles, you see the grapes, you see the bird, you see this idea of like growth. With the 10 of Cups here, you see beautiful fish and the rainbow. So even if you're not normally a pip reader, I think you could get on with this deck, because I have, and I'm not really someone who reads with pips, although this year, you know, I'm getting into Marseille, so I'm getting more comfortable. But it's never been like my preferred system, and I find this deck to read so well. I've had such a good time with this deck the last few weeks, and I'm so happy to continue working with it. The plants are like these luscious tropical plants here. We have beautiful animals, we have those alien sexy people. Decadent, it's irreverent, it's very alien-esque. As you can tell, I've been really enjoying this deck a lot. I've been enjoying it because it pushes me outside of my comfort zone. Like some of those images, I've never seen anything like it before. Like look at this Page of Wands, and there's something about the people coming out of people's heads, or those heads being split in two, or those bodies being split in two, that I can relate. Like it kind of makes me think about all the times we disassociate and we distance ourselves and we cut ourselves off, and sometimes we're asked by the universe to like come back to center, and sometimes we're asked to like open the wound, to look at the core of it and let the light in. And for me, this deck does that. It's like after you've looked at the wound and you found it, this deck helps you to like look at let the light in that wound. And even look at this Knight of Swords, like this person bursting out of their head, ready to take on, like this is absolutely Knight of Swords energy. There's something very cerebral but also very passionate and fierce about this Knight of Swords, which I think is so appropriate for a Knight of Swords. Even the pips, they're really beautiful. And like I was saying, even if you're not someone who normally enjoy pips, I really believe you could read with this easily. because the pips have a lot of thought into them. Of course, you have to like this type of artwork. Like, I understand this is not going to speak to everyone, but for all of my alien freaks out there, we can rejoice, right? This magician, I love him. He's got little shoes. He's so cute. So yeah, the Zix Arcana has been giving me life. I'm so happy I waited for the right time to use it. I've not seen anybody talk about this deck, so I don't know if not many people backed the Kickstarter, although I think the Kickstarter was really popular. I don't know if people maybe don't know about this deck, because I don't see it shared a lot, but it's really cool and wonderful, and if you want to check it out, I'll leave the link in the description box below, because they deserve to be seen. And I believe the artist is Australian, and I believe she has a YouTube channel where she shared the whole process of making this deck, which is also so cool. Okay, the next Kickstarter I backed ages ago, I think like 2021, I'd have to go back, but I don't think it was 2022, I think it was 2021, that I received literally 2 days ago. So this is truly not a review, it's just a first impression. Is the Black Femme Tarot by Letitia Shelton and illustrated by Roberta Rodriguez. So this is created by a woman of color, and we love that. I always, if I can, love to support BIPOC women. And this is also created by a queer person. So again, I love that. I'm neither of those things. I'm not BIPOC, and I'm also, I'm not queer, but I, if I can, like to be able to support queer creators or BIPOC creators, because it's something that's important to me. And so inside it says, the epitome of being a black femme is being able to glow unconsciously and giving a young black femme permission to glow by seeing me. I think that's beautiful. So it came with, I have the number 467 out of 1,000. The creator is Illumiladi on Instagram, so I recommend you to follow them. And the guidebook is really cool. Like, I've only had this 2 days, so I've not read it yet. But just the way it's been written and set up, graphic designed it already. It's different, it's unique, and I'm excited to get into it. But the fact that there's keywords around and questions and things, I'm very excited to get into this. It looks like there's reverse meaning and even how to read like yes and no in those cases, which is cool. I've not seen a lot of guidebooks do that, giving you like yes and no meanings. So I'm excited to get into this guide. I can tell that Illuminati put a lot of work into it. So this took ages to come purely because I live in the middle of nowhere. On a rock in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and sometimes decks that come from America can take like a year to come to me, you know. And so I just let the universe do its things. Here are the beautiful backs, by the way, and here are the edges, which are pink. Hashtag pink edges. Why is there a theme of pink edges here? The Zix Arcana has it, this one has it. I am so here for the pink edges, like it's a theme, and I'm so happy about it. Category is pink edges extravaganza. I love that. But usually when those kind of things happen, I forget about the deck, let the universe do its thing, and when I least expect it, a deck will turn up on my mailbox, and surprise, it's like Christmas. So this took a good year and a few months to come, but it's finally arrived, and I'm so excited about it because I've just flipped through this, like literally I've only had this like 48 hours, but there's something so joyous about this deck. I love the joyful nature of it. Like, obviously it's very rooted in the modern life, and everyone is, you know, representing, all the characters represented are black femmes, which I think is wonderful because it's a community that isn't often celebrated in tarot decks. So I really appreciate the fact that it exists. I back this, like I said, because when I can, I like to back creations from queer creators or BIPOC creators, but also because I love the artwork. Like, I thought this was a really great RWS redrawing. Look at the hermit. Instead of their lamp, they have their like the lamp on their phone. That's genius. So I'm super excited to use this deck as a new RWS reinvention. I'm very excited to use it for my pick a card readings, because I think it's gonna be really cool. This death card is badass. The devil, those little devil worshippers here look like they're having a great... The cardstock is matte, it's really nice actually. I think it's gonna shuffle really nicely. Let me show you some of the minors. just so you can see. Beautiful world card. Again, there's a lot of pink and oranges. I'm loving all those colors, guys. We have color-coded minors, we have orange for the wands, blue for the cups, we have purple for the swords, and we have pentacles for green for pentacles, sorry. And it seems like we have some extra cards. I don't know if they were just part of the Kickstarter, but we have trust the messages, spirit guide, your person, so a couple of extra cards here. Again, I don't know if they will be part of the deck that come now or if they were just for the Kickstarter version, but the minors are RWS inspired, very much so. A reimagination of the RWS, but modernized and with beautiful badass femmes who are fierce. There's a lot of fierceness in the deck. Look at this 8 of Wands with the card, that's cool. So this deck feels fierce straight away from like intuitively. Again, I'm just flicking through. I flicked through once. There's a lot of joy, there's a lot of fierceness, and I love this 3 of Cups so much. Look at that. Oh my god, it looks so cool. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a joy to read with for myself, for others. I'm super happy I backed this, honestly. I think for my pick a card readings and even for reading for my friends, they're gonna love this so much, because even though I'm not myself either BIPOC or queer, a lot of my friends are, and I think they're gonna be happy to see themselves in this deck. This is just joyful and celebratory and definitely fierce. This Queen of Swords is beautiful. Let's have a look at some of the pentacles. It's very RWS, so if you're a beginner and you've been wanting to get into a deck that is RWS inspired, but you want a deck maybe that with people that look like you potentially, then this absolutely would be a perfect beginner friendly deck, because it's very resembling the RWS. If you're a professional reader, then this would be a great deck to get, if you so you can have like a deck for where part of your community can feel seen. I think that's important. And overall it's just joyous, and all of the clothes are cool. Like, I love all the outfits. It's giving fashion, honey. So check out Ilimi Laddie on Instagram. I will leave their Instagram below. I think this deck is available for retail now, if I remember correctly. I've seen it go by, and again, it's not one I'm seeing a lot of people talk about, so I'm talking about it because I've received it and I'm super happy I backed this. Let's move on to a couple of book depository orders that took their sweet time. You know the drill by now. Decks can take 3 to 6 months, 9 months to come to me. So those two actually took their sweet time, but they finally reached their way around April. So we have the Signs of the Time Oracle by Crystal Banner. Crystal Banner is one of my favorite creators of decks. I absolutely love her absolute affirmations. Let me find it. This one, I have the indie version. You can find it now, it's been picked up by Hay House, so you can find it mass market. It's an affirmation deck. If you don't have this and you are into affirmation decks, definitely check out the one that's now mass market version, because it's so good. Like, it's affirmations for people who are not necessarily about that love and light life, pretending everything is good. Like, those affirmations here, they're practical, about day-to-day life, even about things that when things are not going right, it still sees you where you are. And this is another one of her decks that is mass market. So the idea of this deck is that Crystal has picked up all the signs and synchronicities that we might be looking out for from our guides. Signs that your guides or your higher self or spirit or source or your ancestors, whatever you believe in, could be sending you, and what they mean. So here we have the knot, the key, we have water, infinity symbol, we have the star, but everything is put in like the modern day kind of context. Part of what Crystal does, everything is rooted in modern day life, and I love that. So for example, the bee symbol is not just a bee, it's a bee symbol you can find on your coffee cup. So this is showing you where you could find signs from your guides, the universe, etc. in your day-to-day life, like on your way to work, when you're going to pick up your kids, when you are going for coffee with your friends. Cycle is recover, the dice are chance, coins are good luck, etc, etc. I've already used it in pick a card reading that will be coming up on my channel at some point, and it speaks really well. So I picked this up mostly because I love what Crystal does. And I'm a fan, and I've been enjoying this deck for, I think for like wrapping up a reading especially. It's gonna be really useful for me, either for myself or for others, like as a way to tie in the reading, or as a way to like say what you need to look out for, a sign from the universe and stuff. It's gonna be really good to use this one. And the next deck that I received not long ago from a book depository order made far back in 2022. This one definitely took its sweet time. It's the Botanica Tarot, I think that's what it's called. The name isn't even on the box, but I think that's what it's called. And this, I got this on Book Depository, so I'm guessing it's mass market. And I know Book Depository is now closed, so hopefully you can find this on Amazon. I know this was originally a Kickstarter. I almost backed it, and then I don't know why I didn't at the end. I've been like stopping kind of backing stuff on Kickstarter because I've been having issues with stuff coming in and shipping and stuff, so I'm kind of on a Kickstarter break at the moment. I think this is now gone mass market, but there is so much stuff that comes with this deck that I'm so impressed. I've never seen a deck come with so much stuff, like a mass market deck, because I guess this is mass market because I got it on Book Depository. So I don't know, maybe have a look on Amazon and stuff, but I think this is now mass market, at least. And it's there's so much stuff that comes with it. Like there's a pendant that is the dandelion from the full card. There's a, what do you call that, a patch. There's stickers right here, and there's postcards. And I paid like less than 30 euro for this at the time on Book Depository, so all of those are postcards. Yeah, less than 30 euro. I think 25 euros I paid for it because it was on sale. I don't know if this is indie and it was just stocked on Book Depository, or if it's gone mass market, or what the tea is, but you get a lot of stuff in it, and the production is really good, and for the price I paid for it. Cardstock is really nice. It's matte. The backs look like this. Beautiful. We see the dandelion theme again here. The sides are gold edged. It's a botanical deck, just as the name would suggest, so each card is a plant or a flower. And this one I've been using in April, and it's been like a deep dive for me because I'm not super familiar with plants, especially I am shit at English plants. Like I might see a plant or a flower and know what it is in French, but if you tell me like, oh, what is, I don't know, thistle or whatever, I'm like, girl, what? Say what now? I don't know. I don't know. So it is challenging for me in a good way to work with a botanical English deck, because when I check out the guidebook and I look for it, so for example, this is a judgment card. You can see the little judgment symbol here. That's something that makes this deck maybe not as easy to use for beginners. It's not numbered. The majors are not numbered. There's not even a name. It's just like a symbol for each of the cards. So if you're not already familiar with tarot, you might not know that this little trumpet here references the judgment card. So it's not the easiest deck to get into if you are a beginner, I will say that. But the guidebook, even though it's small, it is definitely mighty, because thankfully it explains why those choices were made for each of the cards. So for judgment, we have the Easter lily. You have divinatory upward and reverse meaning, but my favorite part about the guidebook are those here. Easter lily, it says, these flowers have taken on the symbolism of purity and chastity in Christian imagery and are thought to herald the end of winter and the beginning of spring. In a similar way, judgment is a call to action card, the trumpet preceding a decree. It's the signal of an end to darkness and the dawn of something new. So it explains to you why those particular plants or flowers were chosen for each of the card, and I really appreciate that. And then on a lot of the cards they are symbolism, like specific swords or specific cups, and it always tells you what those are. And so from the guidebook, even though it's so small, I've been going on like rabbit holes and doing my own research, and it's just been a lot of fun to explore. So here we have the Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups is aconite, also known as monk's hood or helmet flower. This highly poisonous flower is a symbol of knight errantry, likely because its flowers is shaped like a knight's helmet. Oh yeah. In the ancient world, it was used to poison whales and springs to stop advancing armies. The cups are brass lassie cups. So here, for example, if I wanted to go deeper, obviously I would research aconite on my own, but I also would be research what brass lassie cups are. So there's a lot of this deck that is not just rooted in the botanical world, but also historical, archaeological findings that can take you on deep rabbit holes, like all those things. It tells you what it is, the names of the cups or swords and things like that. And I like going on rabbit holes. I like learning. I consider myself to be an eternal student. So this deck is perfect for me when I want to just go on a little dive and learn new things. I definitely need the guidebook to read for this. I could use it just know my knowledge of what the Three of Swords is, but what would be the point of me doing that and not research the plant? I might as well use any other deck. So if I use this deck, for now I'm using the guidebook. The artwork is absolutely stunning, I'm not gonna lie. I think this was painted on wood, and so you can see some of the texture in the way the cards were printed. You can see like kind of the wood peeking through, and that's really beautiful. So aesthetically this is very pleasing. Also super impressed at how much stuff comes with it. Do I need all that stuff? No. Do I appreciate that it's there? Yes. Yes, I do. Why not? If you wanna give me like stickers and postcards and shit, I'll take it. Why not? Why the hell not? So well done, Botanical Tarot. Really cool, beautiful production, really interesting concepts, and beautiful artwork. I'm into it. Okay, I'll wrap it up with this one. I have another few decks I wanted to share with you, but I'm starting to flare up, so I think they'll have to wait for another video. French Mass Market Oracle deck. You would have seen it in action in my recent pick a card reading called Your Main Character Energy. So again, if you want to see how it reads, I encourage you to watch that reading. I'll leave it in the card somewhere. But as the name suggests, l'Oracle Rock, it is a rock-inspired oracle deck. It's a French deck, but honestly I think for those of you who are music fans out there, or who also are used to reading playing cards, you would really bond with this deck. So I found this deck at random in the bookshop in March, and I just saw Oracle Rock and I was like, yes, I just picked it up. I'd never seen it, and every single card here depicts a musician or a group of artists. And it's badass, it's fierce. This is again has been perfect for Aries, and because there's something very unapologetically bold about this deck that is saying a big fuck you to heavy energies. And a lot of my favorite artists are there. Like we've got Amy Winehouse, we have Beyonce, we have the Beatles, we have Bob Dylan. Like there's just all the cool people are here, okay? So on each card you have the person or singer or group in question, and then as you can see it follows playing cards. So we have spades and hearts, and here we have Tina Turner for the Ace of Hearts. We have clubs and diamonds. The guidebook is huge. It's in French, obviously, because it's a French deck, but you could use the Google Translate to translate it. It will tell you the name of the artist. So Deborah Harry, for those of you who don't know, she was a singer of she's the singer of a group called Blondie. And I think humor and the Jack of Hearts is the perfect choice for them, because there's something like irreverent and kind of like taking the piss and joyful about their whole music that is very good for the Jack of Hearts. You usually have a little quote like lyrics. They're usually lyrics of their famous songs, and then you have a little message. So for the Jack of Hearts, it says it's the heart, the central organ, the rhythm, the vital force. That's also why it's the humor card. The ability to observe just as well what we do well than what we fuck up, without losing the sight that nothing is too bad. If you have done a big boo-boo, recognize it and move on. There's joy to be lived and laughter to be had with this card. Something cheeky, not taking things too seriously. Blondie is a pop sugary concept of resistance, of coming back on really dramatic events and looking at them in a therapeutic way through laughter and taking things lightly. It's the opposite of vulnerability, victim mentality. It's all about resilience in being bold. No denying, no pathos. It can talk about, this card can talk about making money easily or spending it without thinking and without any dramatic consequences. You can save yourself on a whim. Try new things. Be curious. It's a good omen of energy, inventivity. Have fun. Take your chance. and don't think about it too much. It's a light, rapid, and atomic card. So really love those messages. I tried to translate them on the go, so hopefully it made sense. I did my best, but you get the gist. The tone of the guidebook is irreverent and cheeky. The people in the decks are irreverent, cheeky geniuses. We have David Bowie as one of the Joker card. The other Joker is Grace Jones, which I think is absolutely inspired. There's so many really cool pop culture singers here, and they all link up, I think, so far of what I've used the deck really well with the energy of the cards chosen. So, and actually these are the 3 cards that pop up in the reading. We had Dolly Parton, we had Nina Simone, and we had Beyonce. So if you want to see this deck in action, check out my pick a card reading. Again, I'll put it in the cards somewhere. But I'm so happy I picked up this deck. I don't regret it at all. It retails in France for 25 euros. The writer is actually a person who writes movies, I think, and then the illustrator, I think she is a tattoo artist. So really 2 cool women, I think, who created this. Actually, I'll finish on this because I don't want to do decks anymore, but I wanted to show you this, which also came in a very long overdue book depository order. We have Pirate Adventure Dice. This is a little game. It's a board game that I'm again detouring. We love a board game detour. I think this is going to be the theme of this particular haul, is like making oracles and decks out of things that are not meant to be oracles or decks. There was a few different kinds, but obviously I love pirates, so I picked the pirate theme ones. How I want to use this is for divination, and to get the energy and assign like a meaning to each of the different symbols. So we have lots of different things here. We have treasure chest and shipwrecks, and we have little boats and a map and a shark and a dog. We have pirates. We have like strength and the ability to breathe underwater. There's so much stuff here, and I would just draw them in and get my story. So here, for example, for me the parrot relates to messages, and the ship is like voyage like movement towards something. So I would be reading this as needing to listen for certain messages, certain potentially insights and wisdoms coming from places where I don't expect. I need to listen to those and be open to receiving those messages, because they're going to allow me to move forward in a way that I am potentially allowed to break some patterns. Because for me the spiral is about when we repeat some things, we're in a cycle, and how to move out of it, how to break from it is potentially through being open to receiving messages from unexpected places that will allow me to move forward to break that pattern. And if I was to pick one more dice to be like, what's on the other side of that? Being more fierce. Literally, I'm breaking that pattern of being a plain old boat into something badass and cool, which is the pirate boat. So it's about owning my fierceness potentially here and tapping in more into that power if I am able to listen to messages that are coming from unexpected places. I love being able to use things that are not meant to be decks or oracle and turn them into that, because my inner child loves to play. Okay, my friends, this is it. I'm gonna stop the video here. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my new things and getting like quick reviews for the ones that I've been using the last couple of months. If you did, don't hesitate to give the video a thumbs up, or you can leave me a comment letting me know the decks you've been enjoying and the decks you've been using lately, all of that good stuff. I love chatting with you in the comments. If you made it this far, you can leave me a little star emoji, because we had the star candle with us all along. So leave me a little star emoji in the comments. It let me know you reached the end of the video, and it will make me so happy. And until my next one, I'm sending you so much good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!